On my birthday, my MIL gifted me an envelope with divorce papers and said, "You're just a placeholder, not a partner." My husband didn't blink. He just patted her hand. I held back tears and whispered, "You'll regret this." When the news broke the next morning, they couldn't believe I had. I turned 34 this year. March 7th, a Thursday. I remember because I took the day off work, hoping to spend it with my husband, Tyler. We've been married 10 years. I met him in college, back when we both had nothing but part-time jobs and old textbooks. He wanted to be a lawyer. I believed in him. I worked double shifts at the diner just to help us stay afloat while he finished law school. We got married at the courthouse. No family, just us. His mom didn't approve of me, said I was too plain and not part of the right circles. I didn't care. I loved him, or at least I thought I did. Things were never easy with his mom, Patricia. That woman always looked at me like I was dirt under her shoe. She'd make snide comments at Thanksgiving like, "Some women are made for marriage, others survive it." I told Tyler, but he always brushed it off. Said she was just old school. I let it go, again and again. This birthday, I wasn't expecting anything big. Just a nice dinner, maybe a card. Tyler had been distant lately. Cold, actually. He'd come home late, hide his phone, barely touched me. But I made excuses. Work was stressful. The firm had cut a bunch of junior partners. He was lucky to still have a job. That morning, I baked my own cake. Chocolate, his favorite. I cleaned the house. Even wore a new dress. Around 2:30, Patricia called to say she was coming by. No real reason. Just said, "It's important." She showed up in a tight blazer, holding a fancy little gift bag from some overpriced boutique. I invited her in, poured her coffee. Tyler came in 20 minutes later. Didn't kiss me. Didn't even say happy birthday. We sat in the living room, and I offered them cake. They both declined. Patricia pulled out the gift bag and handed it to me. Her nails were perfectly manicured. Red. I opened it, and inside was a single envelope. I opened it. Divorce papers. Filed. Signed. With my full legal name typed in bold. My stomach dropped. My hand shook. I looked at Tyler. He didn't look away. Didn't say a damn word. Just leaned over and gently patted Patricia's hand like she had done something kind. Patricia smiled like she was doing me a favor. "You didn't really think this was forever, did you?" she said. "You've always been just a placeholder, not a partner." I don't even remember breathing. I felt like I was floating. My hands were numb. I looked at Tyler again. Still no words. Just silence. I swallowed hard. My eyes burned, but I didn't cry. I just whispered, "You'll regret this." Then I stood up and went upstairs. I locked the bedroom door and sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the wall. I waited until I heard them leave. That night, I didn't sleep. I packed a bag and left while Tyler was in the shower. Drove to a cheap motel by the airport. I didn't have a plan, but I had information, because I'd seen this coming. 6 months earlier, I found a receipt in his jacket pocket for a hotel in Nashville. 2 nights. He told me it was work. I didn't believe him. A week later, I found a woman's earring in his car. He said it was his co-worker's. She must have dropped it when he gave her a ride. I played along, but inside, something shifted. I knew. I started documenting everything. I installed cameras in our office and synced his phone to my laptop when he left it charging. I took photos of receipts, bank statements, text messages. I found out he'd been seeing a woman named Sasha for almost a year. She was married. And her husband? A known hothead who once broke someone's nose at a company Christmas party. I also found out about Patricia's little side business. Real estate. Buying and flipping homes without reporting half the income. Shady deals. Under-the-table transactions. I dug. I printed documents. I kept copies in a folder labeled car insurance that I knew Tyler would never touch. 2 weeks before my birthday, I met with a divorce attorney. Her name was Celeste, and she was ruthless. I told her everything. She told me to wait. Let them make the first move. So I did, and they did. That night, after I left the motel, I went to my friend Valerie's house. Slept on her couch. The next morning, I emailed everything. To my lawyer, to Tyler's firm, to Sasha's husband, to the IRS. Then I turned off my phone. I wasn't going to cry in front of anyone. Not anymore. By the time I turned my phone back on 2 days later, my inbox was flooded. Missed calls, Voicemails. Emails. Tyler called 15 times in one night. Patricia left one message that just said, "You've made a serious mistake." That was it. No concern. No emotion. Just a threat. But the real surprise? Sasha's husband. His name was Vince. He left a voicemail that I've saved to this day. He said, in a calm but scary voice, "Thank you for confirming what I suspected. Don't worry, I'll handle it from here." That same afternoon, Celeste, my lawyer, called. She sounded almost giddy. Tyler had already tried to file first, but I'd beat him by 12 hours, which meant he was responding to my divorce. That gave me the upper hand. It got better. Apparently, Sasha's husband had shown up at Tyler's office that morning and caused a scene in the lobby, shouting, threats. Security had to escort both of them out. Tyler's boss called an emergency meeting, and guess who had already sent them a full PDF report of Tyler's misuse of funds, office affairs, and the credit card charges? Me. They suspended him by noon. I didn't respond to his calls. I needed him to panic. I needed him to stew in it. He made me feel like trash for the last year. Like I was invisible. He cheated, lied, and sat next to his mother while she handed me divorce papers like they were a Hallmark card. Now it was my turn. Celeste advised me not to speak to him directly. So when he showed up at Valerie's house 3 days later, banging on the door, I just stood in the kitchen while she answered and told him I wasn't there. He left a bouquet of roses on the porch. I threw them in the trash. The investigation into Patricia's real estate business moved faster than I expected. I had dropped a tip to the IRS, anonymously, but I also included detailed ledgers I found in her desk drawer last Christmas when she asked me to grab a charger. I'd taken photos of everything, handwritten numbers, emails from cash buyers, transactions that were off by just enough to be suspicious. They opened a case. And because Patricia had named Tyler on 2 of the LLCs she used to buy properties, he was pulled in 2. Joint responsibility. She must have lost it when she found out, because the next call I got wasn't from Tyler. It was from her. She said, "You vindictive little parasite. Do you know what you've done?" I said, "You started this. You handed me papers on my birthday." She didn't respond, just hung up. A week later, Celeste sent me a text that made me laugh out loud for the first time in months. Tyler had tried to change the terms of the prenup, claiming we agreed he'd keep the house, the car, and the retirement accounts. But because I had documented proof of his affairs, bank misuse, and misconduct, the prenup was thrown out completely. The judge called it unconscionable. I was awarded temporary possession of the house, the car, and 50% of his assets before we even hit court. Tyler started blowing up Valerie's phone next. Told her he missed me. Said he was being manipulated by his mom. Said I had blindsided him. Valerie asked him, "You gave your wife divorce papers on her birthday. You think she blindsided you?" Then she blocked him. But it wasn't just money anymore. The thing that really made it messy was the woman, Sasha. Turns out she hadn't told Tyler the full truth either. She wasn't just married. She was pregnant, and she claimed it was Tyler's. He denied it, of course. But Vince didn't care. He filed for divorce and named Tyler in the papers. I only knew because Celeste got a copy sent to her by Vince's lawyer. It was the perfect storm. Tyler lost his job. Patricia's finances were frozen. The firm quietly scrubbed his name from the website. Their circle of friends, the ones who always looked down on me, started whispering. People started choosing sides. And not all of them chose theirs. I still wasn't done, because there was something they didn't know yet. Patricia had forced me to sign that prenup years ago, during a dinner where she warned me that her family didn't take kindly to gold diggers. She said if I didn't sign it, the wedding was off. At the time, I thought love mattered more than money. So I signed. But what I didn't tell her, what I never told anyone, is that 2 days after that dinner, I recorded conversation with her. I had left my phone recording in my coat pocket while she ranted to her friend on the phone about how once she signs it, we'll make sure she's always dependent and Tyler can always upgrade later. I still had the recording, and Celeste planned to use it in court because it proved coercion. It proved that the prenup wasn't just one-sided, it was manipulated. That single recording became the nail in the coffin. But the best part hadn't even happened yet, because while they were watching their little empire fall apart, I was planning something even bigger, and neither of them saw it coming. About 3 weeks after everything exploded, I got a call from a woman named Danielle. She didn't introduce herself right away. Just said, "I think we need to talk. I know about Sasha. I know about Tyler. And I think we've both been lied to." I thought it was a scam at first. I almost hung up. But then she said something that made my blood freeze. "He told me you were already separated. He said the divorce was mutual. We were together for 6 months. Danielle was the second mistress, while Sasha was the flashy distraction, the one he paraded around hotel bars and business trips. Danielle was the secret girlfriend. She was a paralegal at a firm across town, younger but smart. She found out about Sasha when Vince's legal paperwork went public. Danielle had receipts, texts, photos, even a shared note on Tyler's phone where they planned a future trip to Portugal. She thought she was the only one. When she saw my name on court filings, she went digging. Found me. Called me. We met at a coffee shop downtown. She looked wrecked. Red eyes, trembling hands. Said he told her I was cold, controlling. That I took advantage of him emotionally. That he was the victim. That's when it all snapped into place. He hadn't just been cheating. He was running a whole fake narrative to each woman to keep control. Sasha thought she was going to be his second wife. Danielle thought she was his real love. And I was the disposable first chapter. The placeholder. I told Danielle everything. I didn't hold back. Her face went pale when I showed her the folder Celeste built. She said she wanted to help, that she wanted to testify if needed. She even gave me permission to use her texts in court. That gave me an idea. Tyler always hated public embarrassment. He could handle legal trouble. His mom could buy lawyers. But what he couldn't handle was shame. So I made a plan. Celeste helped me file a petition to unseal certain divorce records, ones that normally stay private. Since there were now multiple women involved, financial misconduct, and accusations of manipulation, she argued that the case had public interest. The judge agreed. Then I sent an anonymous tip to a local online news site that often ran stories about corporate corruption and scandal. They didn't bite at first, until I gave them Sasha's husband's lawsuit, Danielle's texts, and proof that Tyler used company cards on both women while married. The story dropped a week later. Louisville lawyer fired amid allegations of infidelity, misuse of funds, and fraud. His face was on the main photo, standing outside the courthouse, looking smug. The article laid it all out. No bias, just facts. Every detail I had carefully stacked together for months. The fallout was instant. Tyler's phone must have melted. He emailed me 6 times in one night, begging me to take it down. Said I'd ruined his life, that I was vindictive, that I was just angry. I didn't respond. Instead, I forwarded the emails to Celeste. But Patricia took it even harder. The IRS was still combing through her books, but now her name was tied to the article too. Her real estate investors started pulling out. One even sued her for fraud, claiming she misled them about zoning permits. Her reputation was toast. All those charity galas she used to dominate, invitations stopped arriving. A few days later, she showed up again at Valerie's house. This time, I let her talk. She said, "You've made your point, but you're hurting Tyler more than you're helping yourself." I looked her in the eye and said, "That's where you're wrong. This isn't about hurting anyone. It's about truth. You wanted to erase me quietly. You didn't expect me to fight back." She tried to threaten me again. Said I'd regret this. That Tyler was just confused, and that I was turning this into a circus. I pulled out my phone, played the recording from years ago. The one where she said I'd always be dependent. That Tyler could upgrade later. She went silent. Then I told her, "You made me a ghost in my own marriage. Now the whole city sees you for what you really are." She left without another word. But just when I thought it had all started to settle, another twist hit me in the face. Danielle called again. This time, her voice was shaking. She'd gone in for a routine checkup and found out she was pregnant. And she was sure it was Tyler's. I didn't say anything right away when Danielle told me. She was quiet on the other end of the phone, waiting. I finally asked, "Are you okay?" And she just broke down crying. She said, "I didn't plan for this. I wouldn't have even slept with him if I knew everything you told me. I feel so stupid." I didn't judge her. I couldn't, because deep down, I remembered what it felt like to believe in him. I knew how convincing he could be when he wanted something. But this changed everything. If Danielle kept the baby, Tyler would be connected to her forever. That meant I'd be tied to this nightmare longer too. Especially during the court process. Custody fights, support payments, lies, drama. It was going to get messy, eh? I told Celeste right away. Her response was cold and sharp, like always. This is good. Very good. Now we show the judge a full pattern. Not a mistake. A lifestyle. That weekend, things got even weirder. I got an email from one of Patricia's old friends, this woman named Elaine, who used to host charity events with her. We'd barely spoken before. She said, "I'm not taking sides, but you deserve to know this." Attached were scanned copies of checks Patricia had written to Tyler. Personal checks. Big amounts. Thousands. Some dated years ago. Elaine wrote, she paid him. Regularly. For what, I don't know. But it's not normal. I stared at those scans for an hour. It looked like Patricia had been giving Tyler money for years. Not birthday gifts. Not wedding money. Monthly support. Sometimes with notes that said things like "for Sasha's silence" and "keep her distracted." I sent the scans to Celeste. She called me that night with one word: blackmail. It all made sense now. Patricia knew about the affairs. She approved of them, maybe even arranged some. She was keeping them quiet, trying to push me out without scandal. Probably figured if Tyler kept his affairs hidden long enough, I'd just get fed up and leave quietly. No mess. No courts. No asset division. Too bad I didn't play along. Celeste filed a motion to introduce the checks into the divorce trial. She argued that not only was Tyler hiding money, but his own mother was helping cover up multiple affairs to manipulate the outcome of our divorce. It turned the whole thing from a personal mess into a possible criminal case: fraud, conspiracy, financial misconduct. Patricia hired a new lawyer that week. Some high-end, flashy guy from Cincinnati. Didn't matter. The truth was already spilling out, and it was too late to put the lid back on. Meanwhile, Danielle decided to keep the baby. She texted me a few days after she made the decision. Said she'd started therapy. Said she wanted to testify in court, not just to help me, but to make sure he doesn't do this to someone else. That's when I realized something. This wasn't just revenge anymore. This was justice. Not just for me. For every woman he lied to. For every time Patricia manipulated people behind closed doors and got away with it. Tyler tried one last move to scare me. His lawyer filed an emergency motion to stop the public release of financial records. Said it was privacy invasion. But Celeste buried it in one hearing. The judge looked at Tyler like he was a child playing pretend and said, "You created this mess. Your wife is just organizing it." That hearing was the first time I saw Tyler in person since the day they gave me those papers. He looked smaller, paler, hair thinner, suit wrinkled. I didn't say a word. I just looked him dead in the eye. And for the first time, he looked away. The divorce trial began 8 weeks later. It was held in Jefferson County Family Court. And for some reason, Tyler still showed up like he had a chance. Patricia was there too. Sitting behind him in her signature beige trench coat like this was some high-stakes charity auction. Her face was tight, not scared, just angry that she wasn't in control anymore. Celeste laid everything out in court like a crime scene. She started with the timeline: my marriage, the affairs, the financial deception. She walked the court through every hotel receipt, every charge to the firm's card, every one of Patricia's personal checks marked for Sasha. Then she called Danielle. She walked up to the stand, eyes red but focused. She looked right at the judge and said, "He told me she was crazy. He told me the divorce had already happened. I didn't know. I was helping him lie." The judge asked her one question. "Do you believe he manipulated you?" Danielle said, "Absolutely. He's still trying to." The final nail came when Celeste played the audio recording of Patricia from years ago. The one where she said, "I'd never be more than a placeholder," and that Tyler could upgrade when the time was right. The courtroom went silent. Patricia's lawyer tried to object, but the judge waved him off. Said the recording spoke volumes. I didn't cry. I didn't smile. I just watched them squirm. The ruling came fast. Tyler was ordered to pay me permanent alimony. Not the usual few years. Permanent. because I had supported him through law school, carried the weight of our household, and now had evidence of sustained emotional abuse and misconduct. I was also granted full ownership of our home, one of the cars, and a percentage of his retirement fund. Celeste got the prenup fully invalidated. We even filed a motion for punitive damages based on emotional distress, which rarely gets approved in divorce cases. But in this one, the judge granted it. But it didn't stop with money. Patricia was referred to the state attorney's office for further investigation. Her shady property flipping? Now a full-blown fraud case. IRS was involved. At least 3 of her former business partners turned against her to cut deals for themselves. She sold her house within 2 months. Quietly. Rumor was she had to auction off jewelry just to pay legal fees. As for Tyler, he never got another job in law. The story that leaked online made sure of that. I know because the journalist followed up and wrote a second piece, this time featuring Danielle and 2 more women who came forward after reading her name. Apparently, Tyler had been running these little side relationships for years, and one woman even accused him of taking money from her under false promises of leaving his cold wife. He became a joke in the legal community. I heard he tried applying to a firm in Ohio under a fake name. They found him out. He now works as a freelance copy editor for online legal blogs. Last I checked, he was living in a 1-bedroom apartment in Frankfurt behind a vape shop. And Danielle? She had her baby, a little girl. She named her Hope. She and I aren't close friends, but we do keep in touch. She sends me pictures sometimes. Told me she's doing everything she can to raise her daughter with honesty and strength. She even testified in a hearing that helped Sasha win sole custody from Vince. Turns out Sasha finally realized Tyler was poisoned too. So yeah, every person who tried to erase me, belittle me, and silence me, they lost. But I'll be honest with you. I'm not proud of everything. There were nights I wanted to burn it all down. Nights I felt like I was becoming just as cold as Patricia. I hurt. I changed. But I survived. And I made damn sure they remembered that birthday for the rest of their lives. Because on March 7th, I didn't get broken. I got free.